Hi, it's Etharal here, and today we are back with our Mount and Blade Warhammer Warsword Conquest mod, or Warhammer mod, and in this we have been playing as Samuel Morrstein of the Morrstein Vampires, our own faction that we have managed to create, with an opportunity to attack the Empire and claim some land from them. This has obviously been steadily growing, and we have steadily been improving, and he has been trying to very much hopefully improve his force to the point where he can actually take a new castle. It's something that I have realised since the last episode, that potentially we have probably been playing things a little bit too safely and only really focusing on forces that are around about our difficulty rather than trying to push into a higher difficulty and see how things go for a good couple of episodes, which has been a bit of a problem, something that I do believe need to get over, which is what I'm going to be aiming to do with this one. So my aim for this video is to do a last couple of fights around about our sort of level so that we can get our forces up to the point where they will be able to actually defend multiple castles, which is one of the main problems for this. If we were to, I believe, take a force now, where we could obviously get a force from our first castle, which is fully leveled up and fully trained to the point where it would be able to take out an army very, very easily. However, the problem would then be that our second castle, which we would then pretty much have to reinforce with things like zombies and ghouls and skeleton archers and things like that, which wouldn't actually be very good for the defense, and they would more than likely fall, especially given that the Vampire Count's forces, one of their main focuses really is to mass numbers and overwhelm people rather than having the more specialized and stronger individual troops, which is going to cause a problem certainly for when we are trying to defend multiple castles. So here we are just going around trying to improve our forces, increase our force size, and get enough experience to be able to expand, as we have been wandering around in the northern Sylvania. However, Samuel Morrstein here has actually noticed that there was a big push by the Vampire Count, so obviously have just seen, and so what he has decided to do is he decided to sort of piggyback along with them. The reason for that being is that there's, hundreds of their guys and then 100 of my guys. That's, 900, 1,000 or so Vampire Count forces moving up to the north, which have ended up in Kislev. This is going to be something that will attract a large force in of itself. So, Kislev's main defensive army is going to be marching out to try and force this army back, which is something that very much we do want to be a part of. That it's going to be a chance for Samuel's forces to really get some good experience, get some good loot as well, to be able to supercharge them ready for that next big push that we're going to be aiming to do. So here, as you can see, we have followed them all up. This has been our first battle in Kislev. It has gone very successfully. We have managed to push this force back, and they are actually aiming to try and besiege the Kislev capital itself, something that I don't personally believe is going to probably work in the way that they're hoping that it will, but nonetheless it is certainly a very good distraction that we will be able to use for our own benefit to be able to, as I've already mentioned, improve our own forces. At least that is all the goal here. How long this will last remains to be seen. Very much don't want to push myself further than I need to and overextend myself. There just popped up on the screen as well. You can see the amount of gold that we are bringing in. So we are supporting all of these two forces very successfully. We are pulling in around about an extra 1,000, 1,500 per week on top, so we are making profit still on top of our forces, which is what we are then using to actually feed our forces, and then we are spending the money that we're gaining from loot to be able to actually get to the point where we are growing our forces, although we are getting steadily closer to tipping point of starting to lose money, so we will likely need to look at some point in the near future actually expanding our merchant influences, possibly by going down to the south to the Skaven or the Tomb Kings or somebody along those sorts of lines, and try and see if they can support an even larger army. So here you can see that this is a large battle that we have become part of. There is 800 troops on our side, over 200 troops on their side. I have skipped ahead a bit through this, as you I'm sure will have noticed earlier on. They did seem to do the whole circling around each other a little bit. I tried to keep it going for as long as I could. I have actually cut around about 5 minutes of that out, as I eventually basically got bored and Samuel Morrstein's nerves cracked and decided to simply charge in. He does very much believe that his forces can take on these guys, and hopefully with our forces taking on these guys, it has prompted the Vampire Count forces to do the same and come straight into the fray, which is very much what has happened. And so we are now steadily hacking them down. We are outnumbering them 4-1 though, so we're in a very, very good situation to be able to take them out and swarm them. So hopefully that will continue to be the case, and we will continue to be able to build on the actual momentum that we have gained and be able to force back this large Kislev force, which will add a bit of a buffer for the actual Sylvanian forces to be able to continue to move in and continue to besiege the capital, with the ultimate aim of taking it and therefore expanding their lands further still, which is an ideal situation to find ourselves in, especially as something that, if they are successful, it's something that I do intend to keep close tabs on, because with it being the capital of the Kislev Empire, they will likely try to keep it, retake it as quickly as they can, and in retaking it, they will leave a smaller garrison force there, which we can then potentially use that opportunity in that opening, similar to our first castle, to be able to actually claim a city and the surrounding villages, which would again be a big supercharge to the Morrstein Lands. Whether we can do that, though, is something likely for a later episode, although we will have to see how that one does go. For the minute, everything though on the short-term goals is going very well. We are certainly smashing through this force and doing a lot of damage to them, and steadily, well, not even that steadily, wearing them down, although because of the sheer number of people involved in this fight is not going to be a quick one in any way, shape or form, especially as I do have the battle limiter turned up. So in this battle they are managing to field 300 total between all of us, because of, thankfully, my computer is powerful enough to be able to increase the size. I could likely increase the size even further and potentially be able to get the full 1,000 people on the battlefield, but I've decided against doing that for the minute. Everything seems to be working now. They are causing a large enough battle still to take place, and I don't want to risk breaking it if it isn't broken, basically. Well, yes, breaking what isn't broken, which is not going to be a good thing. Last thing I want to do would be obviously to lose the whole Let's Play series, when we are this far into it and we are already in as good a situation as we are in. So here you can see obviously that we are steadily whittling them down. There is still a fair number of their guys all wandering around, as you can see, although there are also a lot of dead bodies on the battlefield. I have turned off the casualty counter for this, so we are more of a realistic sort of element for this, so you can't really see how well our forces are doing in relation to the number of people that are being killed to the number of people dying, but by the looks just of the battlefield and what I can see with my own, what Samuel even can see with his own eyes, it does look very much like the battle has turned very strongly into our favour. Hopefully we will get a very good battle report by the end of this. We'll just mention, obviously, if you are enjoying this series, please do be sure to subscribe. Don't want you to miss out on any future content, and hopefully get to see how this battle and this whole campaign does go. So there you can see we have lost a fair number of forces, but so have they. I did skip over the last one, which obviously had 600 of our guys against 27 of their guys. I think we all know how that one was going to go from the very beginning. And so here you can see that our force is becoming an increasingly better skilled force. It is still not to the point of being amazing, but we do have a Vampire Master there, and we have managed to upgrade a fair number of our forces, although we have lost lost around about 15 or so guys in total, so do decide to just pull back a little bit, regroup, regain some forces when we are actually attacked by a rather large force of forest goblins who have been, since the last episode, have been plaguing Sylvania and the eastern reaches of the Empire. So we are going to have to remove these if they think they can try and attack us. Well, that's not going to go very well for them, but hey ho, if that's what they want to try and do, then that's what they can try and do. Here we are just taking out a few guys ourselves. Samuel here has obviously gotten some better armor, and he is in a very good place to be able to do a one-on-one fight, or even in this case a two-on-one fight, while his force does engage with the larger force of the enemy. So I'm now though going to, Samuel turns around having killed both those and moves back into try and attack the rest of these guys and mop them up a little bit. We probably should have tried to move our forces into attacking range with these guys rather than just letting the forest goblin archers pretty much just sit there and pick at our guys without being challenged in any way, shape or form. Although I say in any way, shape or form, we have a lot better sharpshooters than they do, and they are likely caused more than a little bit of damage to the forest goblins when they have been charging in and trying to attack us. But here you can see once we have set up for the actual infantry to charge in as well, it has very quickly just washed them away. No difficulty there really whatsoever, which is what we like to see. And there you can see we've lost 13 guys for their 72, so very big difference there, and we have managed to wipe out that force, and that is one less force of forest goblins. So here I have actually skipped ahead a little bit of time. As I mentioned earlier, one of my aims was to push things a little bit further, and so what we have decided to do, as the Morrstein vampires, they've decided to declare war on another faction. We have chosen to do the Orcs. Reason being is that they had a castle that they had taken from the Dwarves, which was near to Sylvania, so near to one of the people who is our probably biggest ally, or closest one to an ally. Somebody who certainly at the very least doesn't hate us and doesn't attack us, so that is what we can really hope for in an ally at the minute. So they managed to take this place. They haven't garrisoned it fully yet, so it is very much an exposed castle, and we've decided that before the Dwarves did manage to attack it, we have moved in to besiege it and claim it for the Morrstein vampires, who obviously couldn't attack we couldn't actually attack straight away, as the actual forces, we didn't have any reason to be at war with them. So I've attacked a small villager small villager group, which were likely going to go and trade in a local city. They unfortunately ran into our forces at their own loss. We wiped them out very, very easily, which has then allowed us to turn around and smash straight into this castle. Will notice, as I've noticed, as I'm sure you have as well, that the castles here, this is not obviously a typical Mount and Blade castle. They have clearly done some mods and some adjustments to this to give the dwarven castles, when you're besieging them, an actual dwarven look, which is a really, really nice touch. I love that pillar in the centre there with the dwarven style architecture on it. It really helps bring out the flavour of the Warhammer world. So here you can see we are steadily moving up the ladder. Our forces are managing to push them further and further up, likely doing a good bit of damage, although without a doubt taking a lot of damage themselves. I think it'd be very safe to say that I am thankful for the surgery skill right now, as this has probably going to cause a lot of death to my forces, and any person I can save from dying is going to ultimately be a boon to the forces when we do manage to take this castle. So here we have managed to get all the way up, so we are pretty much the forces just mopping up. Samuel Morrstein didn't really contribute to this fight, unfortunately. He shot a couple of guys down with his crossbow, but not as much as you would have liked. And there you go, you can see we didn't actually lose too many. We only lost around about 28 guys dead, so we have now got enough to be able to support this castle. So that, there we go, is now a second castle that we have for the Samuel Morrstein, and 2 villagers as well. So they are in a lot better place now. They've basically doubled their land. Hopefully this is something we'll be able to capitalise on in future episodes, and possibly even looking at starting to get an actual vassal. So do be sure to subscribe if you do want to see all that happen. Wouldn't want you to miss out on it. And thank you very much for watching. I've been Etharal, and I'll see you next time here at EGN.